Hello, my name is Dr. Pudalowski and I welcome you to this video lecture series for your Marketing 333 Principles of Marketing course. The faculty and staff at CBU has worked very hard to put together a three-part video series to help each student gain a solid foundation of the important principles and strategies needed today's marketing agents. I invite you to spend the next 10 or 15 minutes as we discuss some important foundational concepts relating to the study of marketing. As I mentioned, we've put together a three-part video series covering important topics such as today's topic, or part one, this video, we'll be investigating the marketing mix, or often referred to as the 4 Ps of marketing. The other topics covered in the video series include part 2, customer segmentation, and part 3 will cover the very important, what we call the SWOT analysis, or the strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats analysis. So because we have a lot to cover, let's get started. If you and I were meeting face-to-face, or if we were in a traditional class setting, I'd spend the first portion of the class asking you to define your most outstanding organization, or what we call the MOO. Think for a second, what company are you most loyal to? And perhaps most importantly, why? In other words, what has this company done to deserve your loyalty? Perhaps you'd be willing to wait an extended delivery date, or pay additional money, or what marketing is hope that you would do most often, go home and, quote, share your experiences on your social media or Facebook pages. In fact, let me encourage you to pause this video, take out a piece of paper and pen, and write down your MOO. Additionally, write down the 3 or 4 specific reasons why this company has gained you as a long-term customer. Go ahead, I'll wait for your answer. So now take a look at your answers, for they are the direct result of marketing. During the next 8 weeks, we will be discussing what organizational leaders can do to earn your business and keep your business. The study of marketing is a fun journey, one that is enhanced by due diligence, a lot of research, creativity, analysis, and take a look, an in-depth look at the customer's expectations and his or her awareness. So now that you've identified your MOO, let's take a closer look at marketing. How would you define marketing? For many, the definition would include terms such as advertising, selling, promoting, and unfortunately, deception. However, as you may expect, there is much more to marketing than this to engage in an effective marketing program and different marketing strategies. Okay? Your textbook describes how the American Marketing Association defines marketing as the activity for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that benefits its customers, the organization's stakeholders, and society at large. Let's take a look at the different components of marketing. From this slide, we can see the number of different departments marketing managers and marketing agents relate to. In fact, your textbook on page 5 states that the marketing department both shapes and is shaped by the relationship with these internal and external groups. Think about it. For a marketing strategy to be successful, it must have, first, a strong alliance with other organizations. Second, strong partnerships with suppliers. Third, a company buy-in from all its shareholders. And fourth, strong relationships with organization customers. For a good marketing program to be effective, it must have, number 1, 2 or more parties with unsatisfied needs. Again, go back to your economics studies and the willingness to give up something to gain something. Number 2, desire and ability to satisfy these needs. And 3, a way for parties to communicate. This is changing to the internet due to the internet, social media, and e-commerce. And then lastly, something to exchange. Throughout this course, you will be asked to define and support the recommended strategies. Perhaps the best place to start is at the very core or essence of the marketing strategies. These include and you might want to refer to page 12 of your textbook. First, product. What are you selling? Is it a good or service? And why should the consumer or the customer be interested? A marketer must listen carefully to what the consumer is asking for. What are their needs and what are their wants? Next, pricing. What is exchanged for the product? A marketing agent must set prices that provides value to the customer segment being targeted. And next, the promotion, a means of communication between the seller and the buyer. Finally, place, a means of getting the product to the consumer. Notice how each of these components relates back to the last graph, the components needed for optimal strategies and programs. These elements are what are referred to as the marketing mix. Now, let us take a closer look at each of these components. When considering introducing a new product to the marketplace, there are several questions that you should investigate. For example, some of the questions you should consider include: question number 1, is there a need or demand for your product? Question 2, how often are your buyers going to need or replace the purchase of this product? For example, are you selling car tires that people will need every 50 or 60,000 miles? Or were you able to create a good tasting, gluten-free bread that people will buy every other week? These questions on the repetitive of purchasing will really drive some different strategies. Another question, how competitive is the market that you're entering? And what are your organizational core competencies? And do they align with your product or with the organization? And then lastly, another question, what competitive advantages do you offer? And once again, do these competitive advantages, are they exclusive to this product or to your organization? In Chapter 10, you will be learning about the product life cycle, or commonly referred to as the PLC. This is an important graph for you to understand where you and your competitors' products fall on the graph. Take a look at the graph on this slide. This is showing the product life cycle for fax machines. Yes, fax machines. How many of you remember fax machines? As you can see, when the fax machine was first introduced, the manufacturers enjoyed substantial growth during the introduction and the growth stages. And with this growth came incredible sales and, of course, profits. However, as time passed, and more importantly, as new products, competing products were introduced, the sales of fax machines entered what we call the mature and then eventually the decline stage. It is important to recognize all products face a similar product life cycle chart. Therefore, as you're introducing a new product that will compete with existing products, if so, what stage is the existing products that you're competing with on that product life cycle? Back to the economic principles. Principle number 7, people respond to incentives, has a lot to do with the price of the 4 Ps. When determining the pricing of your product, you should analyze the following. Question 1, what price points do you need to meet? What are the profit margins for the related industry? And just as important, what are the profit margins you and your organization need? From a consumer's perspective, what does the price say about your product? Now here, just as an example, if you were selling automobiles and you had a low-end car with a high-end price tag, the consumer's perception of that car and the price are not going to align. You're going to create problems as you develop further strategies. Okay, now that you have your product and you've considered the required and you've conducted the required research, you must now decide how are you going to promote your product. Your textbook will cover many promotional channels, including advertising, personal selling, public relations, sales promotions, and direct marketing. It is important to understand each of these channels has their own set of advantages and disadvantages. When discussing your promotional strategy, I recommend you take a look at page 355 of your main textbook. And this will help you select the strategy that is best suited for your product. When will you use each of these listed elements? And most importantly, why? While we are talking about the promotional element of the 4 Ps, let me encourage you to read and understand the differences and values of the push versus the pull strategy. This information can be found on page 360. Basically, the push strategy is ideal for personal selling and sales promotions. Salespeople call on wholesalers and retailers and encourage, order, and provide services. On the other hand, the pull strategy, manufacturers promote the product directly to the consumer or the end user, not to the wholesaler or the retailer. A good example of this strategy is when the pharmaceutical companies who advertise directly to the consumer or the patients. There's a number of factors one must analyze when deciding the proper place. For example, when selling your product, are you going to use retail outlets, non-retail outlets such as vending machines, wholesalers, or should you plan to sell your product directly to the end user? Each of these channels has their own set of advantages and disadvantages. It is up to you, the marketing agent, to understand each channel and to know why it is the best suited channel for your particular product. Your textbook discusses 6 important channels structures, including marketing channels for consumer products, marketing channels for business products and services, internal marketing channels, direct and multi-channel marketing, dual distribution and strategic channels alliances, and finally, vertical marketing systems. When selecting a specific strategy, you should refer to page 302 and investigate the advantages and disadvantages of each structure. This information will be a good source for you as you support your claims, recommendations, suggestions, and proposals. So let's recap what we've looked at here today. We discussed the marketing mix, or commonly referred to as the 4 Ps: product, place, price, and promotion. 2, we've emphasized the importance for you to support your recommendations and your proposals. We've defined marketing. We've looked at the different departments and connections of the marketing connections for the marketing agents. Lastly, let me encourage you, as you begin your marketing journey, let me encourage you to stay in close contact with your professor. Understand, we are here to help you. As marketing lead, I want you to know that I am praying for you and your success and wish you all the best. Thank you for watching this video, and may the Lord bless you.